Naomi has laid the groundwork for us, talking about parenting in the 21st century. And what I will add to that is it has become more difficult in these days to parent, much more than at, the olden days. I'm not very old, so I won't say I was, I know what it was in those days. But in the little time that I've spent on this earth and having children, I can tell you that from the times that I was parented, it has changed. And the thing with parenting now is that it is ever, ever evolving. It's not static. So if you think that, okay, my children now, there's a way I can deal with them, I tell you that it's really, really diverse, because across the diverse demography of children, there's a way that parenting is and changes. So we have this panel here, and let me just, put a disclaimer first of all. These panelists here are not parenting experts. They've all come here with their own individual experiences and are going to tell us about what parenting is, their own experiences, the people they deal with, the children they've dealt with. It's a very diverse panel here. Sister Faith is going to bring in another angle for us, which is very, very important to us when you're parenting children who have developmental delays. Sometimes we're not open to speaking about these things. She's going to give us some perspective on that. So the way we're going to run it, I'm going to have each panelist speak for a few minutes, and then we're going to open up for question and answers so that we can move in from there. I also have Dikin Akimade, who is going to be talking about technology. And technology, as fantastic and as great as it is also a disruptor. Mommy said something about, our children and technology. Now, if you know that the world has changed so much, and if you're not communicating with your children using technology, then, you failed. There was something Pastor Ade said here the other day when he said he opened, I don't know whether it was on the altar, whether it was during a workers' meeting, where he said he opened Snapchat because his son said he doesn't communicate on WhatsApp anymore. So if you are still held back in olden days technology, and I say Facebook, most of the older people here use Facebook. Our children, some of our children don't even know what Facebook is. They don't even use it. So if you're still held up using Facebook, then you've not started. If you're not on Snapchat, TikTok, help me please, Instagram. In fact, they are even moving from Instagram. There's another one. No, TikTok, Twitter. If you don't move with the ages and with the times, then we cannot effectively communicate with our children. And guess what? When you use these things, our children believe that we are cool. So when sometimes when you overdo it, if they post something and you overlike it, they will block you because you are getting into their space. So as technology is evolving and we're communicating with our children, I think one thing that is really key is that we must not forget the traditions that we've had from, time past. The traditions of not imposing on them, but our value system, our family value system. I know some of the times, or sometimes when I speak with my children and they question some of the things that I say and I do, and I say, it's our family values. So that in itself must never ever be missing from, our training up our children and our parenting our children, both our physical, biological children and the children that are not our biological children. And before I hand over, I will start with Sister Lovett. Before I hand over, I think that one of the things that our children like from us the most is allowing them to express themselves. Sometimes we parent and we want to, force our own opinion. We want to over-discipline our children. Discipline is good, but sometimes you allow them to reap the consequences of the things that they do. Unfortunately, let me not say unfortunately, my son is in church today, and I would say something. There was a time that he went to the barber's shop, and he was going to do his hair, cut his hair, I thought. And he came back, and his hair was woven. I was sitting with anger. I almost fainted. In fact, I was lying down when he came in, and his hair was woven. It's not too long ago. And when he came, I was just breathing heavily and was about to vent. But, I just sort of calmed myself down. And he too sort of realized that maybe I didn't like it. And he came and said, do you like the hair? I said, I didn't know how to answer. I just didn't know how to answer. And I could have reacted differently. What could I have done? I could have disciplined him immediately and said, remove that hair right away, and in fact, you can even go the extra length of saying, cut that hair. But I didn't do it. I just allowed him to be. I'm sure he must have been shocked and wondering, what was wrong with this woman? I sent messages to all my family members. I sent the picture of the hair. I said, if you see this boy's hair, in fact, you can't even imagine it. He carried that hair for 2 weeks. I don't know how he managed. In fact, I told him, I said, when you come to church, they will tell you something about the hair. But I allowed him to carry that hair so that he realizes the consequences of what he did. Whether it's that people laugh at him, whether his friends think he's cool, whatever it is. But he's done it, he's expressed himself. You give them the opportunity to have an opinion. Is he going to do it tomorrow? Maybe. Does it make him less of himself? Maybe not. And that's what they feel. They say, does my hair stop me from being spiritual? So we need to allow children to express themselves, and so many other things and much more that we're going to discuss. So I'm going to hand over to Sister Lovett now to give us her own perspective.
Praise the Lord. Sorry, I feel like standing up so that I can really, really say what I want to say. Praise the Lord.